Hello, my snarky sweethearts. Today's tales come straight from r/Am I the A-hole, where no one's wrong, but everyone's terrible. Let's dive into the first one. I, 18 female, have been living at my Uncle Adam's, 49 male, house with his wife Melissa, 47 female, for 2 years. This happened after the sudden passing of my parents. When they took me in, they were quite relaxed with me for a few weeks and then went back to their regular ways. They were a little strict, but nothing too extreme. There were some restrictions that were different, but eventually nothing ended up being a big deal. A few weeks ago, my uncle and aunt sat me down and asked me to begin paying rent. Additionally, with a little backlog, but I could take my time on that. I told them I couldn't do that because I couldn't afford it. All the money I was saving was going straight to my college fund, and to afford 2 years' rent plus every month from now on would mostly drain me. Adam and Melissa just shrugged and asked me to figure it out as best I can. Today, at breakfast, I told them I would stay with my boyfriend Elias, 19 male. His parents and he invited me to stay once they heard me talking about the issue. They have a 2-story house with 2 free rooms currently, so they told me whichever room I wanted was free. Elias and I have been dating for 3.5 years, and I've stayed at his family's house often over the years. As I was packing, Adam and Melissa came into my room to forbid it. They are extremely conservative Christians and said it's not a good look. They said I owed them something for the years they took care of me. They really were great the 2 years I stayed there. Very comforting, very kind people, but I just don't want to give up my college dreams. I'm at Elias's house right now, and I'm honestly feeling bad, like I deserted them. They really were fantastic people. Am I the a-hole?
Okay, no. You are not the a-hole, sweetheart. I don't care how fantastic they seemed for 2 years. Asking an orphan teen to back pay rent they never agreed to? That's not kindness. That's manipulation wrapped in a guilt trip. And yeah, they did help you. You can still choose to pay that kindness forward someday if you want to, but make no mistake, you didn't choose this situation. You lost your parents. You were a kid. They took you in, and that's something to be grateful for, but not indebted over like it's a loan with interest. And this whole you owe us energy, that's not love. That's conditional kindness. And if you're going to preach values, then practice them. Don't act all holy while guilt-tripping someone who's just trying to survive and get to college. I'm proud of you for choosing your future. That's not betrayal. That's boundaries. And anyone who truly cared about you would never ask you to trade your dreams for their comfort. What do you think, Snarks? Helping someone through grief, is that love or leverage? And speaking of family drama, the next story is about a sibling who thinks moving in rent-free should come with no rules, no respect, and 0 contribution. And how that went over will not surprise you. I, 27 female, bought a small apartment 2 years ago with my own money and a mortgage I'm still paying off. I live alone and worked really hard to be independent. My younger brother, 22 male, just finished school and asked if he could crash at my place for a few months. I said okay, but only if he helped with utilities and groceries, like $200 a month tops, and respected a few basic rules. Clean up after yourself, no loud guests every night, that kind of thing. He completely lost it. Said I was greedy, cold, and treating family like strangers. Then he told our relatives I was trying to profit off my own brother, and now I'm getting texts from our aunts and cousins saying I'm heartless. I'm honestly just trying to protect my space and peace. I don't think asking for basic respect and a bit of help with costs makes me an a-hole. Am I the a-hole? I've got to say, I've met this kind of family before. The kind who thinks family means free rent, free food, and 0 responsibilities. And when you ask for literally the bare minimum, suddenly you're the villain. I mean, come on. OP wasn't even asking for full rent, just $200 and some basic grown-up manners. If that's too much for him, good luck out there in the real world, buddy. And the part where he ran off to whine to the relatives, that's when I knew for sure. You dodged a bullet. I don't know who needs to hear this, but being family doesn't mean you get to treat someone's home like a frat house. And those aunts and cousins texting guilt trips, they can house him if they're so generous. Honestly, I wouldn't let him move in even if he promised to pay. I've seen how this movie ends, and it's not with rent getting paid on time.
You're absolutely not the a-hole. I'd do the same. Protect your peace and your space. Up next, when your nephew steals Lego, the only logical response is to let your teenagers loot his entire house. Justice served, barbarian style.
My brother and his family came for a visit last month. My kids and I play with Lego, and we have fun leaving little dioramas around my house. Just silly stuff, like a fight between Iron Man and Darth Vader on the Loot Llama. It's just our way of leaving Easter eggs around the house. My nephew really liked them and decided to take a few home. When we noticed they were missing, I asked my brother to bring them back. He said that it was just kids being kids and that he would bring them back the next time we saw each other. I saw him for coffee, and I reminded him beforehand that I wanted all our stuff back. He forgot to bring the toys. Okay, game on. We went over to his place for a barbecue. I told my kids that unless all our stuff was returned to us when we got there, literally anything in the house was fair game. Like the godless barbarians they are, they went to town. When we left, I don't think there were any remotes, small electronics, or beer mugs left at his house. I actually had to sneak the dog back into the house before we left. I started getting calls on our way home. I ignored them. When I got home, I returned his calls. He said a bunch of stuff was missing from his house. I said I would check with the kids. He said that I freaking well knew what happened and that he wanted his stuff back. I said I would box it up and return it the next time we saw each other, as long as we got our Lego back. He was at my house with my Lego later that evening. He had even accidentally included stuff that wasn't ours. I returned it and his stuff. I told him that this is how we would be dealing with his kid in the future. He is pissed off that he had to make a special trip to return my stuff. My parents think that there is a huge difference between an 8-year-old taking Lego minifigures and a couple of teenagers pillaging their uncle's house. Am I the a-hole? I actually had to sneak the dog back into the house before we left? I laughed so hard at that. The Lego revenge raid was already hilarious, but the dog almost getting kidnapped just puts it over the top. I love this parenting move. Kids need to learn responsibility early. If you don't teach them when they're small, they grow up spoiled and thinking actions don't have consequences. That's the parent's job, not everyone else's. So, the brother brushing it off as kids being kids? Nah. That's exactly how you end up with entitled teenagers who think the world owes them Lego, remotes, and whatever else they feel like taking. OP's solution? Chef's kiss. The kids learned real fast what fair game looks like. And the best part? The Lego came back immediately. Funny how forgetful people suddenly remember when their beer mugs and electronics are on the line. You're not the a-hole here. Your brother needed that wake-up call. So, what about you? If your kid's toys went missing at a relative's house, would you play nice? Or unleash the full-blown barbarian raid? Tell me in the comments. I need to know how far you'd go.
And that wraps up today's r/am I the a-hole. Hope you enjoyed the drama as much as I did. If you did, give it a thumbs up and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everything, even the spicy ones. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button, turn on the bell, so you never miss another crazy story. I'll see you in the next one, and trust me, it's gonna be wild. Bye!